so cool. We'd seal jack my dad's stash and drink the whole night through.
Hello there, CT9904 here, and today I'm doing episode 4 of the Time Trial Guide series. Today we're going to be taking a look at WALUIGI Stadium. To begin, Ace goes and gets a nice little rocket start at the beginning. Then he wheelies, doesn't do a trick on this ramp, and nosedives down to the ground. He then does a spin drift and gets a mini turbo and does a slight wheelie. He then does a drift and goes to the left of a ramp and goes and heads towards the right. He does a nosedive and then does a spin drift when hitting the floor. He then gets a mini boost and a wheelie. He goes to the left of a ramp and does a wall cancel on the ramp. He then heads to the left where the mud is and uses a boost on this corner. Something important to note is that he doesn't use the boost until about half a second after being on the mud. Do bear this in mind. He then does a MT hold going off the mud and does a wheelie. He then heads towards the top right of the screen and goes to the half pipe. He then does some half pipe alignment, which I've made a video on, go and check that out. And essentially he keeps doing this all the way down the half pipe until he gets a one boost here and then gets another boost going around the whole entire corner. He then lands and goes straight into a wheelie. He doesn't do any tricks, so he can't get any boost, because if he got a boost he'd go off flying around this corner really far. Also, while going over the first ramp, he does a tail dive here, going into neutral when he lands. Then he does a nosedive on the second one and he goes into a slip drift. He then charges for mini turbo and holds it for a little bit just because he's not ready to exit out of it. He then does a slip drift and does a wheelie, and then he does a normal drift going around this corner, once again holding it for a bit longer just because he doesn't want to exit out sooner. And then he does a drift trick and goes down, nosediving towards the ground, and does a wheelie when landing.
Flashback and be glad that you could look back at a good past, happy that you have that. I like living in the past, it makes me thankful for everything I have.